What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of nftwins. Today, we're celebrating the 100th episode of nftwins. Let's go! That's almost 2 years of podcasting, and well, we learned a lot, and of course, we want to reflect on it as well as seeing where it's gonna. We're gonna take this podcast to, right? Well, also, we have some questions from the audience, so we're gonna first talk about what we've learned so far, and then we do the Q&A, and then what's the future of the podcast. All right, Mark. So first of all, first question. What is the most overrated advice in business? Well, I thought we were going to talk about our experience, my boy, but sure. Let's jump into Q&A. Let's do both. All right. What's the most overrated advice in business? Well, over the last 2 years, I think, or based on our experience as well, it's a question, huh? It is. Actually, I kind of want to say follow your passion.
I already know one thing.
For me, kind of follow your passion a little bit in that sense of you're gonna enjoy what you're good at, and if you practice, you're gonna be good at something, and it's eventually will be a passion. I would say.
No, for me, what be the most overrated business advice is having a business plan.
Oh yeah.
So I think, like, in general, it's just starting with something, because in the end, if you have people want a business plan, write it down. No, just start it, because in the end, the end user or your consumer will know what you need, and they will let you know, right? If they see, I think that your website or app is shit, they won't use it. So they will basically tell you what to do with their user behavior, or if you have a feedback form, that it will help as well. So I think that's probably one of the most overrated advice in business.
Good. All right, Lucas, next question. What's the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make when they're starting out?
I mean, I could easily say now the business plan, but for me, it's as an entrepreneur that we probably did ourselves as well, was first trying to raise money. Like, always just like, oh, we need to start money. We need to have money first before we actually have a product. So in the end, nowadays, it's so easy, especially, for example, with AI tools like Lovable. So they're called lovable.dev. And you can just like prompt, and it can help you build web apps with simple prompts, even with complete full stack, so front and back end, so also with user base, so like super base. And nowadays it's so easy to get a product out there. And now you only need to take care of distribution, which is now TikTok right now. So for me, that's one of the...
Honestly, I think there's additionally two things for me. So one, that we always had like, oh, you're too old to learn something. That's like, for me, it's like, look, you're never too old to learn anything. You can learn it really, really quick nowadays, because not that people are getting smarter or anything else. It's just the tools to learn are so much better, and people are much better teacher in the sense of YouTube. You have so much access to anything. AI, you don't even need to learn how to code, for example, in that case. But they can also give you advice in terms of regular businesses, what strategy you have to do, etc. So I think in that sense, just do it. Just fucking start with it. Surround yourself with good people.
I also have another point. It's not only you're never too old, but also it's never too late. In general, because, for example, many years ago, like, we were like, oh man, we're already too late for, I don't know, for TikTok, for YouTube, for anything. It's just like you always push it backwards. So that, like, there are two excuses that people have, right? One is like, I'm already too old to learn, and the other one, I'm too late to the platform. But the problem is that is mostly not true. For example, if you're a younger entrepreneur, you're normally hanging out with tech enthusiasts, which are already like ahead of the curve, so the early adopters. So if you're seeing that, yes, that your friends have been using it for a year, yes, you might be relatively late for your friends, but then you have like the majority, like the late majority. You have so many different groups that will adapt it later, and so just do it.
It's like, well, I mean, for example, coming back to the question again, like what I said earlier was like, hey, you're too late to learn something. We're 17 and 18, we're like, it's too late to learn coding, etc.
Oh, yes.
And it's like fucking
too late to learn language.
Exactly. 15 years ago. Hell yeah. So anytime you can learn anything. All right. I want to finish this question with this one now. Okay, Lucas, next question.
What's an unpopular opinion you have about success?
Honestly, well, it's similar. You can start.
So I think success is always, well, the problem is that I see with success that in the game of entrepreneurship, normally success is always measured in money. So that's one of because that's the easiest way to measure certain things. But I think that's more, we should also consider like it's not only the goal but also the road where how you get there, right? Because for example, if you after 5 years you might have an exit of 100 million, but if these 5 years were like so shitty, like you were working with shitty people, like now you have diabetes too because you've been eating shit the entire time, super stressed, etc., it might not be worth it, right? So these are the things that I always want to consider, that also the way to towards the goal is really, really important. And I think that's, yeah, for me, like the definition of like unpopular opinions, for me, the way, I guess the way to the goal is actually for me more important, because I'm enjoying the role. Of course, there are always tasks that I don't like doing because it's normal, right? But there's also, you want need to challenge yourself. May it be cold calling, may it be writing customer support emails, etc. I think these are things that people tend not to like, but actually push you forward.
I mean, for me, it's not an unpopular opinion, I don't know, but I think success lies in the things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So it's one of a mantra, like our mantras, I guess, that we're following now. It's like there's, this feeling you need to do this. You're like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. But end of the day, this is exactly what brings the business forward, and this is what we've noticed over the last year as well, since we've been doing our own other new businesses. So yeah, that was a huge difference for us. So I think that makes a difference. Yeah.
All right, this is a different one, Mark. I think I really like that one. So if you could live inside any movie or TV show, what would it be?
Well, it needs to be anime, of course.
Of course, which anime now?
Well, honestly, the thing is this:
if you're a main character, or if I can just live in the world.
Exactly, because fucking like One Piece, amazing, but I don't fucking like boats.
Yeah. Oh,
if I maybe
stick on boats, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. Hell yeah, hell no. But maybe then, I don't know, Naruto's cool, but it's also fucking always war, man.
No, I think I'd rather have Boku no Hero.
Oh, My Hero
like,
Academia.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody has like superpowers or have some.
Yeah, but you can also be like a fucking weird quirk or no quirk.
Yeah. True. Well, no quirks were almost done. He was basically the last one who had no quirk. So I think that's more because you're normal society and you don't have to go fucking war like a ninja with like 12 in Naruto, which looks cool, Naruto. But in real life, hell no. You're 12 and you're just going to war. Hell no, definitely not. But yeah, Mark. Next question.
All right,
last one.
Last question. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Probably from, advice we followed or we did not follow?
Both.
So advice that we did not follow is investors telling us that we need them, and we should definitely have them on board because they have connections. So that's one of the things I'm like, then you don't want to have them on board. There's also, I think, one of the decisions we did correctly in our round with our previous startup with Gazoom, that we said no to certain investors because they were trying to pressure us and change the deals in the last minute. I think that's really, really important. I think that's also one of my proudest moments probably as an entrepreneur, because we said, like, even though we had no money,
fuck you.
Exactly, we said like fuck you, and moved it in with our co-founder, and then 6 months later or 4 months later we raised a round. I think that's one of the proudest moments, because like it's like you stick to the values. I think it's really, really important. And in general, especially when you start a relationship with with investors, it's like basically like getting married. Actually, the average investor entrepreneur investor relation lasts longer than a marriage on average. So yeah, choose wisely. But I think, Mark, that's it. Or
no, one more question.
All right.
What's your guilty pleasure business, podcast, and book? I'm going to answer this.
All right, go ahead. I rotate.
Exactly, I have rotation, but business podcast, I only listen to one, I guess, which is My First Million.
Yes and no, because I think there are multiple which cut in multiple
like
categories.
Modern Wisdom and Diary of a CEO. They're all great, but they're not really necessarily business podcasts.
No, exactly. So My First Million, yes, for business. Then I like his like all-rounder, I would say, is like Modern Wisdom, as well as the Diary of a CEO. That's been listening lately. I haven't listened a lot to lately was Uberman, but I still love it, just from the science point of view, because I always love that.
You need to be too focused for it. I think
exactly. It's not something you listen while doing some other, like, working, getting shit done. So that's why I'd rather have like business ideas. So my first meeting, I really
It's
like
just like
that.
because it's more like a talk with the buddies. You
Exactly.
listen to it,
Yeah.
easy to talk
I
to.
think they even described it in their podcast. They're like, hey, it's like being on like being the fly on the wall, and you just listen to
Yeah, it's, I mean,
buddies
this is
talking
what we're
about
aiming
it.
for as well. Like, right? It's
Yeah.
something easy to listen to. It's just like nice, kind of funny, hopefully.
I think this is also what brings us to where we want to take this podcast. Because so far we had like AI news, business breakdowns, even to our own diets, etc. Because like for us, these are all topics or slices of our life that we like talking about, and I think it's also important that it should be represented in our podcast. Because in the end, we don't want to be then somebody else. Because like you will never be as good as let's say Alex Hormozy and being Alex Hormozy, but you
But
would
he's never gonna be as good
being us.
us
Yes,
as we are,
exactly.
because we are.
So I think that's and that's also what should be represented in our show. And for moving forward, I personally, for the next 50 or 100 episodes, would like
also
to have,
love Alex Hormozy.
exactly, yeah. I would like to have more interviews, because like with people that we really like talking to or learning from. So for example, we had I think a few weeks ago we had an episode about German home care services. So stuff like this where we can really
yeah.
learn a lot.
Like deep, like kind of like deeper ones, longer,
Yes,
long form.
longer format, because we also always like longer format listening to. So far, we haven't set the priority yet. We just did every week a podcast just to like get it going. So we always like keep in the flow, at least like keep talking to the camera, even though we know we can do better preparation.
But we're getting there. Honestly, that's like
Exactly.
one of the things is like good preparation.
Goals.
And this will be probably in the second half of the
Yeah,
year.
I
We'll
mean,
focus more on that.
In general, it's like you always have priorities, right? So for us, for examples, right now, first, hey, we want to have a stable economy, or well,
get the business off the ground.
Exactly.
We're currently starting 2 businesses, and we're going
which
to
is
focus
never
on
good
that.
to have. Exactly, never run 2 businesses at the same time. But yeah, we're 2 people, but still. So yeah, that's why I believe I want to have in the like later half of this year more interviews, because I think this is what I'm really passionate about, and yeah, because we can learn from it a lot, because that keeps it always fresh and keeps it
keeping
pushing.
it good content for you guys.
Exactly,
Hopefully.
of course. I mean, so far it's a classroom, but we're getting there. We're getting there. No, but it's also one of the things, because people are like, hey, how long does it take to like get a lot of like users, etc., or listeners? To be honest, hey, we don't have a big audience yet, but it doesn't matter, because in the end, it's just like we mentioned that in another episode. It's about improving your skills, right? So for example, now talking to the camera helps you maybe in investor pitches, in talking or cold calling, anything, because in the end, especially in podcasts where you give basically summaries of what people say or businesses, you need
also free flow content. Like we have free flow podcasts. They're not like reading off. We tried one. We actually kind of liked it as well. I thought it was kind of nice. But in general, most of our podcasts, like 99%, are actually free flow.
Yeah, but at the same time, it also helps you like give like learning how to break things down, and also give summaries, right? Because summaries is really, really important. When you're able to give somebody a summary, you will know whether you understand it or not. Because if you can explain it to a kid, then yeah, it's perfect.
All right, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for being subscribed to us and
of
listen
course,
to our podcast.
be on our journey. And yeah, excited to give you another 50 or 100 episodes. And of course, catch you next one. Peace.